Have you ever seen a creature so dazzling? You had to ask yourself, is that even real? Not a painting, not animation, but alive, fluttering, glowing, hiding in the heart of China's wildest forests. What if I told you there are birds so rare, so breathtaking, that even veteran researchers have never seen them in the wild? What if some of the world's most beautiful species are living right now, just beyond the edge of the map? In this video, we take you into places few people have gone: misty mountain valleys, secret bamboo groves, lost landscapes where color comes alive and feathers tell ancient stories. This isn't just a documentary. This is a cinematic journey through the 15 most mesmerizing birds in China. Species so unique, they look like they stepped straight out of a dream. The golden phoenix, the fire-tailed jewel, the 8-colored ghost. But here's the twist. Many of them are vanishing. What makes these birds so elusive? Why haven't you heard of them? And why are some only one forest fire or one bulldozer away from disappearing forever? The answers will surprise you. Some may break your heart, and others will make you fall in love with the wild again. So pause whatever you're doing. Lean in, because what you're about to see has never been captured quite like this. If you care about nature, about beauty, about stories no one else is telling, then hit that like button, subscribe to Wild Wings, and share this video with someone who needs a little wonder in their life. Every click helps keep the wild alive. Let's begin. Golden pheasant. It's not a mythical phoenix, but it might as well be. The golden pheasant, known in China as Jin Ji or the golden chicken, bursts through the forest like living flame, with a cascading golden crest, a scarlet body, an emerald back, and a shimmering copper-gold tail. It's almost too vivid to believe. This bird doesn't just walk, it glides, like royalty. Native to the mountainous forests of central and western China, the golden pheasant thrives in dense, dark woodlands, where it can disappear in a flash of color. Despite its fiery look, it's notoriously elusive in the wild. Most people only see it in bird parks or as symbols in traditional paintings. But what makes this bird even more fascinating is its place in Chinese culture. For centuries, it's been associated with power, prosperity, and masculinity. Some even believe the golden pheasant inspired ancient depictions of the Chinese dragon, its tail feathers mimicking the dragon's flow and flame. During imperial times, its image graced royal robes and temple murals. Today, it remains a national symbol of beauty and nobility. The male's bright colors are all about impressing females. During courtship, he flares his cape-like golden crest, circles the hen, and performs a series of shimmering spins. It's like watching a firework made of feathers. But despite its regal appearance, the golden pheasant is a quiet, shy bird. It prefers the underbrush, where it forages for seeds, berries, and insects. Its call? A sharp cluck. Nothing like its show-stopping look. Unfortunately, habitat loss has pushed these birds further into remote areas. While not endangered, their populations are shrinking due to deforestation and human encroachment. Many now live in semi-wild or captive conditions. Still, seeing one in the wild is unforgettable. Imagine hiking through a foggy pine forest, the world hushed, when suddenly a streak of gold and red cuts across the path. For a second, the forest feels like a place of legends. And here's a little-known fact. The golden pheasant can fly, but it rarely does. Its strong legs are built more for sprinting through thick brush than soaring above it. When it does take off, it's usually in a short, explosive burst, just enough to reach a low branch or escape a predator. Interestingly, while the male is a festival of colors, the female is dressed for survival. She's mottled brown, perfectly camouflaged on the forest floor, where she protects her eggs from lurking threats. This contrast between the showy male and the practical female is one of nature's most fascinating balances. In the end, the golden pheasant is more than a pretty bird. It's a living relic of China's wilderness and heritage, an ember of magic, flickering through the trees. Silver pheasant. If the golden pheasant is a firework, then the silver pheasant is moonlight, carved into feathers, draped in soft, silvery white plumage. That looks hand-painted with black brush strokes. The silver pheasant moves through the forest with quiet elegance. Its crimson legs and vivid red face patch stand out sharply against its monochrome body, giving it an aristocratic air. There's something ancient about it, like a spirit that has walked the mountain trails for centuries. This bird makes its home in the misty highlands of southern China, especially in provinces like Yunnan, Sichuan, and Guangxi. It prefers dense, humid forests and is often heard before it's seen, a series of soft whistles and sharp calls cutting through the thick foliage. Unlike its golden cousin, who flaunts his colors for attention, the silver pheasant exudes subtlety. Yet, it holds deep symbolic weight. In Chinese culture, silver is associated with clarity, with wisdom, and protection. This bird appears in classical art and imperial gardens, embodying grace and resilience. Male silver pheasants are fiercely territorial during the breeding season. They strut, they fan their elegant tails, they puff out their chests in a dramatic flare, and while their dance may not be as flamboyant as the golden's, there's a quiet intensity that's no less captivating. Females, again, are more camouflaged, brownish, with subtle patterning to help them nest safely. They lay their eggs in shallow ground scrapes, hidden among roots and leaves, relying on stillness and cover to avoid predators. Though not globally endangered, their habitat is under pressure. Expanding agriculture, deforestation, and hunting have reduced their natural ranges. In some areas, they've adapted to semi-wild reserves and protected parks, where conservationists are working to keep their populations healthy. But what's beautiful about the silver pheasant isn't just how it looks, but how it moves. It steps with poise, like it knows every inch of the forest is sacred. There's no need for fireworks when you shine like moonlight. In a world obsessed with brightness, the silver pheasant teaches us the power of stillness and elegance. It whispers rather than shouts. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need to hear. Red-billed Blue Magpie. If there were ever a bird that looked like it was designed by an artist dreaming in bold brushstrokes, it's the red-billed Blue Magpie, stretching nearly 2 feet long from its crimson beak to its flowing tail feathers. This magpie is dressed in electric blues, deep blacks, and creamy whites. It's a walking contradiction, graceful in form, but loud and rowdy in behavior. You don't find this bird. It finds you by swooping down in a flash of blue, with a squawk that demands attention. Native to the foothills and forests of southern and central China, this magpie isn't shy. It thrives near villages, temples, and rural farms, often seen hopping from tree to rooftop in small, gossipy groups. Unlike more secretive birds, the red-billed blue magpie wants to be seen and heard. Its call is a medley of whistles, chatters, and harsh caws, often used to alert its clan of intruders or predators. But it's not just noise, it's communication. These birds are highly intelligent, forming complex social bonds, and even working together to defend territory or find food. Some locals even call them the forest tricksters. But don't let their noisy antics fool you. These birds are attentive parents, feeding their young insects, fruits, and even small lizards. Their nests, tucked high in trees, are carefully woven cups of twigs, lined with roots and soft grass. In Chinese folklore, magpies symbolize joy and good fortune. A magpie's call was once considered a sign of incoming guests, or better yet, good news. The red-billed blue magpie, with its dramatic look and fearless presence, embodies that spirit with flair. Sadly, urban expansion has begun to shrink their habitat, and they're often targeted for illegal pet trade due to their exotic appearance. But their adaptability gives hope. Some populations have even learned to live comfortably near city parks and temples, adapting with a cleverness that few other birds can match. There's something deeply charismatic about this bird. It's not majestic in the same way as a pheasant, but it's magnetic, alive, expressive, unapologetically bold. In a world that often rewards silence and blending in, the red-billed blue magpie shows us the beauty of standing out, of being loud, bright, and unashamedly yourself. Crested Ibis, once thought extinct. The Crested Ibis is not just a bird, it's a miracle in feathers. With its ghostly white plumage, elegant, curved bill, and fiery red face and legs. The Crested Ibis is one of the rarest and most revered birds in all of China. When it flies, its wings glow with a subtle blush of rose pink, as if catching the last light of dusk. And when it lands in a quiet rice field or wetland, the whole landscape feels sacred. Historically, this bird lived across China, Korea, Japan, and Russia. But due to rampant deforestation, pesticide use, and hunting, its numbers plummeted during the 20th century. By 1981, only 7 individuals were found in the wild. In a remote village in Shanxi province, just 7. That's how close the Crested Ibis came to disappearing forever. What followed was one of the most inspiring wildlife comebacks in history. Through careful breeding, habitat protection, and unwavering dedication by conservationists and local villagers, the population has slowly climbed into the thousands. Today, the Crested Ibis is still endangered, but no longer vanishing. Crested Ibises prefer wetlands, rice paddies, and riverbanks, places rich in frogs, insects, and small aquatic life. Their long bills are perfectly designed to probe the mud for food. During the breeding season, they build messy stick nests high in tall trees, and pairs share parental duties with surprising gentleness. There's something quiet and noble about their demeanor. They move slowly, deliberately, and when they preen, it looks almost ceremonial, like monks in feathered robes. In many ways, they reflect the landscapes they inhabit, peaceful, reflective, and utterly irreplaceable. In traditional Chinese culture, white birds symbolize purity and spiritual transcendence. The Crested Ibis carries that symbolism even further, representing hope, resurrection, and the fragile balance between destruction and renewal. Their story is more than a biological success. It's a reminder that with collective action and compassion, we can bring species back from the edge. That extinction isn't always the final chapter. When you see a Crested Ibis rise from a misty riverbank at dawn, its wings glowing like embers, you realize you're not just looking at a bird. You're looking at one of the rarest second chances in the natural world. Temminck's Tragopan is what happens when evolution lets loose with the color palette. Imagine a bird painted in fiery crimson, dotted with pearl white spots, topped with a cobalt blue face and bib, accented with brilliant turquoise skin flaps that emerge like a magician's flourish during courtship. This isn't a fairy tale creature. This is one of the most dazzling pheasants in the world, found in the cool, misty forests of southwest China, especially in Yunnan and Tibet. Temminck's Tragopan is a master of camouflage until it chooses not to be. Despite its bold colors, it blends seamlessly into rhododendron thickets and mossy undergrowth. It prefers high elevations where the air is crisp and the world feels untouched. But during breeding season, the male sheds all stealth. He performs a display that's nothing short of theatrical. He inflates his throat to show off a bright blue lappet, a flashy patch of skin that looks almost electric. Then he fans his tail, bows low, and struts in circles, showing off those iridescent flanks. To top it off, he unfurls two horn-like blue wattles above his eyes. Yes, horns, and bobs his head like a strange, feathered deity. The female? Modest, earthy brown, perfectly suited to raising chicks under the radar. But don't mistake her subtlety for simplicity. She's the one making the all-important choice during these extravagant performances. Temminck's Tragopan feeds on berries, leaves, buds, and insects, foraging quietly on the forest floor. And while it can fly, it much prefers to walk or hop, rarely leaving its mountain home unless disturbed. Though not critically endangered, their numbers are threatened by habitat loss and poaching. In some rural traditions, their vivid plumage was once prized for ceremonial garments. But thanks to modern protections and ecotourism efforts, awareness around this species is growing. To see one in the wild is to see living art. It's no wonder many birders consider Temminck's Tragopan their holy grail sighting. In a world where beauty is often filtered and edited, this bird reminds us that nature is still the original artist, and sometimes it paints in fire and jewels. Chinese bamboo partridge. You probably won't see the Chinese bamboo partridge before it sees you. And when it does, it vanishes, like a shadow into the thickets. This ground-dwelling bird isn't flashy like a pheasant or as bold as a magpie. But in the hush of a bamboo grove, its rust-colored body, speckled chest, and finely barred back melt perfectly into the dappled underbrush. It's camouflage, perfected through evolution. Native to central and southeastern China, the Chinese bamboo partridge thrives in lowland forests, tea plantations, bamboo jungles, and farmland edges. It's a survivalist, highly adaptable, and often found near human settlements, darting across paths in quick bursts, or hiding silently in leaf litter. Though it prefers walking or running through dense cover, it can take flight when threatened, launching vertically in a loud, fluttery panic. That sudden rustle? Often the only sign that one was nearby. What it lacks in bright colors, it makes up for in sound. The male's call is a loud, rhythmic, duet-like whistle, often answered by nearby birds. In fact, their Chinese nickname, Chuck-Chuck Bird, comes from their distinctive echoing calls that ring through the forest like a bamboo drumbeat. These birds are monogamous during breeding season. They nest in shallow ground scrapes lined with leaves, and the female fiercely protects her clutch of 5 to 7 eggs. She relies on stillness and camouflage to avoid predators. Culturally, the Chinese bamboo partridge appears in old poetry and local stories as a symbol of humility and awareness. It's not a show-off. It doesn't need the spotlight. It simply endures, generation after generation, blending perfectly into the green fabric of southern China. Though not considered endangered, habitat degradation is a growing threat. As farmlands expand and forests are fragmented, their safe zones grow smaller. Still, their resilience gives conservationists hope. There's something deeply charming about a bird that doesn't need attention to be special. The Chinese bamboo partridge is a quiet guardian of the forest floor, heard more than seen, and remembered more than expected. Lady Amherst's pheasant. If a bird could wear haute couture, Lady Amherst's pheasant would be the model on the runway. It's hard to describe this bird without sounding exaggerated. The male is a kaleidoscope of elegance. Zebra-striped black and white crest, shimmering green back, deep red shoulder patches, and a long, sweeping tail that seems to go on forever. Arched like a painter's brushstroke dipped in silver and ink. Lady Amherst's pheasant is native to southwestern China, especially Yunnan and Guizhou provinces. It prefers subtropical forests and bamboo thickets, elusive by nature, often seen only as a fleeting shimmer of color through the trees. You may hear a soft rustle, a flash of movement, but the bird itself? Gone in seconds. Despite its dazzling appearance, it's not a show-off. This pheasant is far more reserved than its golden cousin. It stays low to the ground, moving quietly through dense vegetation, rarely taking flight unless startled. Its name comes from Sarah Amherst, a British naturalist and the wife of a colonial governor in the 1800s. She helped introduce the bird to Europe, where it was bred in aviaries for its ornamental beauty. Yet, despite its fame abroad, in its native range, it remains a rare and secretive jewel. During mating season, the male performs a hypnotic display. He fans his cape-like crest, puffs up his chest, and rotates slowly, like a slow burning fire on silent forest ground. The female? Modest, brown, and wise. She chooses based not on color, but on grace and poise. Though still found in the wild, their populations are declining due to habitat destruction and trapping for the exotic bird trade. Some survive in protected areas, but spotting one in the wild is a treasured moment for any birdwatcher. Lady Amherst's pheasant isn't just beautiful, it's regal. It carries itself with an almost aristocratic restraint, as if fully aware of its own rarity. In a world where loudness often wins attention, this bird whispers luxury. It doesn't seek the spotlight, but when it steps into it, it owns it completely. Fairy Pitta. They call it the 8-colored bird, but honestly, even that might be selling it short. The fairy Pitta is a tiny, almost mythical songbird, a flash of rainbow in the deep forest shade. Its plumage is like a jewel box spilled open. Vivid green back, electric blue wings, chestnut crown, black eye stripe, ruby red belly, and a creamy throat. Every angle, a different glimmer. It's nature's version of stained glass. Found in the subtropical forests of southeastern China and Taiwan, the fairy Pitta is a summer visitor, nesting quietly in moist, leafy woodlands. It prefers the calm of quiet slopes, shaded hillsides, and rich undergrowth, far from human noise. It's elusive, like a ghost wrapped in color. Birdwatchers may spend days waiting, hoping for a glimpse, and when it appears, it's often just a flutter through the foliage, a soft shadow perched low on a mossy branch. Despite its gentle presence, the fairy Pitta is a long-distance traveler. It migrates thousands of kilometers each year, from breeding grounds in China and Taiwan to wintering forests in Southeast Asia. And every year, that journey gets harder. The fairy Pitta is now listed as vulnerable. Why? Because forests are shrinking. Light pollution disorients them. Buildings and towers take lives in the dark of night. But where they nest, hope still blooms. Conservationists across China and Taiwan are working to protect their breeding sites, teaching local communities how precious this little bird truly is. To hear its song is to hear the forest breathe. Its call is a soft, flute-like whistle, a delicate echo woven into the rhythm of the trees. The name Fairy Pitta couldn't be more fitting. It's rare, it's magical, and like all fairy tales, it reminds us of what's precious and what we stand to lose if we don't act. Black-throated tit. If birds were painted with a fine brush, the black-throated tit would be a masterpiece in miniature. It's tiny, barely larger than your thumb. But don't let its size fool you. This little bird carries more personality than birds 10 times its size. With a rust-colored crown, a sharp black mask, white cheeks, and its signature black throat patch. The black-throated tit looks like a woodland ninja with a fuzzy charm. Found across southern China, especially in the Himalayan foothills and the forests of Yunnan, these birds thrive in mixed woodlands, bamboo groves, and scrubby hillsides. You'll never see just one. They travel in flocks, fast-moving, chatty, and endlessly curious. You'll spot them flitting from branch to branch, hanging upside down, zipping through the foliage like feathered acrobats, and their voices, a chorus of high-pitched chirps, like tiny squeaky toys in constant conversation. Their nests are tiny wonders, round, soft, and camouflaged. They're suspended from branches and built with spider webs, moss, and animal fur. Yes, spider webs, ingenious, and weatherproof. These birds are not only cute, they're clever. Black-throated tits are highly social. They form complex flocks and sometimes even share parenting duties. Older siblings or unrelated flockmates may help feed the chicks. A rare example of cooperative breeding in such a tiny bird. They may be small, but they're vital to their ecosystem. They help control insect populations, spread seeds, and serve as indicators of forest health. Where black-throated tits thrive, you'll find balance in the trees. They aren't flashy, they don't dominate the sky, but there's a joy in watching them. A lightness, a sense of play. In a world so busy and fast, these tiny birds remind us to look closer, to notice the quiet lives that flutter beside our own. Fire-tailed sunbird. Imagine a spark of sunlight darting through the treetops, and you've just seen the fire-tailed sunbird. This tiny, nectar-loving marvel is one of the most striking birds of the Himalayas and southwestern China. The male, a living flame, glowing crimson back, iridescent golden underparts, and that unmistakable fire-red tail that blazes behind him like a streak of light. The female is subtler, but no less beautiful. Her warm tones glow like soft sunlight beneath the forest canopy. Together, they make the alpine forests shimmer. You will find them in Yunnan, Tibet, and neighboring highlands, flitting through rhododendron groves and flowering meadows. Often at elevations, few birds dare to live. They feed on nectar, using long, curved bills to sip from blooms, just like hummingbirds. But unlike hummingbirds, they prefer to perch while feeding. Graceful, deliberate, and elegant. They are more than beautiful. They are essential. As they feed, They pollinate high-altitude plants that rely on their visits to reproduce. Every flutter, every hover, every sip keeps the mountain ecosystem alive. Their call? A soft, warbling whistle. Simple, sweet, like mountain wind through blooming trees. In spring, they perform gentle chases, wing flicks, and soft songs, their own version of courtship dance. They build long, hanging nests with moss, bark strips, and spider silk. Delicately suspended over slopes or stream beds, safe from ground predators. Though still thriving, these sunbirds face quiet threats. Climate change, deforestation, and habitat shifts put pressure on their fragile alpine homes. If the trees flower too early or too high, they may find themselves out of sync with the very plants they need to survive. But for now, they remain one of China's brightest wonders. To see one is to witness fire, wrapped in feathers, dancing on a breeze. The fire-tailed sunbird is tiny, but it burns with brilliance, proof that even the smallest life can light up the sky. Chinese Hwamei. It may not shimmer with colors or flash with fancy feathers, but the Chinese Hwamei sings with a voice that can still a forest, with warm brown plumage, subtle streaks, and that signature white eye line that arcs like a stroke of ink. The Hwamei looks simple until it sings. Its name, Hwamei, means painted eyebrow. But its true beauty is not in how it looks. It's in how it sounds. A rich, melodic, haunting song, rising and falling like bamboo flutes in the fog. The Hwamei's voice carries through valleys, over rooftops, into tea gardens and temples. It doesn't chirp, it performs. You'll find the Chinese Hwamei in forests and woodlands across southern and central China. It moves low, among the shadows, quietly foraging for insects, fruit, and seeds. But when it sings, you'll stop in your tracks. Its song isn't just for attracting mates. It's for marking territory, declaring identity, and sometimes for sheer joy. For centuries, the Chinese Hwamei was one of the most beloved cage birds in China. Men would gather in courtyards, each with their songbird in the cage, and let them sing battle. A contest not of volume, but of melody, soul, and grace. But popularity came at a cost. Overtrapping nearly silenced this voice. Populations declined, wild habitats suffered. Thankfully, awareness has grown. Laws have changed. Conservationists now protect Hwamei habitats, hoping to let this song ring freely again. The Chinese Hwamei is not a bird of spectacle. It's a bird of feeling. It doesn't dazzle the eye. It reaches the heart. In a noisy world, its song invites us to slow down, to listen, to feel something deeper. And if you ever hear that haunting melody echoing through morning mist, you'll know you've heard the forest sing back to you. White-collared Yuhina, tucked among misty forests and rhododendron hillsides of southern China, lives a little bird that looks like it had too much coffee. The white-collared Yuhina. Small, expressive, constantly moving, with an upright chestnut crest, a crisp white collar, and boundless energy. You don't just see a Yuhina, you feel it. It flits from branch to branch, calls sharply, bounces like a wind-up toy through bamboo and blossoms. Found in provinces like Yunnan, Sichuan, and Hunan, this bird prefers cool, shaded mountain forests, lush, layered, and filled with flowering trees. It's rarely alone. The white-collared Yuhina lives in flocks, and not just social flocks, chatty, cooperative, animated communities where everyone plays a role. They feed on nectar, fruit, and insects. And when flowers bloom, They become tiny pollinators in motion. Watch one work a flowering tree and you'll see a dance, hovering, darting, a flick of the tail, a burst of call, a skip to the next bloom. Their nests are little domed cradles, tucked into dense foliage, carefully woven with moss, twigs, and fur. But it's not just the nest that makes them remarkable. Yuhinas often breed communally. That means multiple adults may help raise the same chicks, sharing food, warmth, and protection. It's one of nature's most elegant lessons in teamwork. Though not endangered, they still face growing threats. Logging, forest clearing, and habitat fragmentation have chipped away at their mountain homes. But wherever the canopy remains, so does the Yuhina. There's something deeply heartwarming about watching a bird that doesn't chase the spotlight, yet lights up the forest just by being itself. The white-collared Yuhina reminds us of the joy in community, the rhythm in movement, and the magic of a little voice among the leaves. Long-tailed Minivet. Imagine a flicker of flame dancing across the canopy, and you've found the long-tailed Minivet. The male is a living ember, velvety black head and wings, set against a vivid scarlet-orange body and tail that blazes with every flutter. The female glows golden yellow, soft as filtered sunlight. Together, they move like paintbrush strokes across the forest ceiling. These stunning birds are found across hilly and mountainous regions of China, from the eastern Himalayas to the forests of Sichuan and Yunnan. They live in pairs or small flocks, almost always in motion, weaving through treetops, darting across clearings, hunting insects with acrobatic grace. Their call, a sweet, whistling trill, bright, cheerful, like a glint of song on the wind. They are aerial foragers, catching flies mid-flight or picking off caterpillars and beetles from the underside of leaves. But what's most charming about the long-tailed Minivet is how it moves. Agile, precise, joyful. During breeding season, you'll see the male chase and call, tail flaring, wings flicking, a subtle display of speed and affection. They build tidy little nests, high in the forks of trees, woven with fine twigs, moss, and spider silk. Minivets are monogamous, and not just for one season. Pairs often return year after year, faithful, familiar, flying side by side through their patch of forest. Though not endangered, their home is always at risk. Deforestation and fragmentation can break the continuity of the forest canopies they rely on. But where the trees still stand, Minivets bring color. They don't sing to be heard. They don't pose for attention. They simply live beautifully. The long-tailed Minivet reminds us that some of nature's brightest gifts don't shout, they shine. Elliot's pheasant, deep within the misty forests of southeastern China, where ancient oaks whisper and leaves fall like prayer, walks a bird few have seen, but none forget. Elliot's pheasant, elegant, elusive, a forest ghost in feathers. The male is cloaked in crisp white and midnight blue, his plumage etched with fine black patterns like ink on porcelain. A bold white wing patch, a crimson face wattle, and a long, subtly barred tail give him the look of quiet nobility. This pheasant was named after 19th century naturalist Daniel Giraud Elliot, but its soul belongs to China, found only in the shadowed hills of provinces like Fujian, Zhejiang, and Jiangxi. It prefers deep, undisturbed mountain forests, where moss covers stone and silence runs deep. You won't hear it sing. You'll hear a rustle, a soft flutter, and then nothing. It walks the forest floor silently, foraging for seeds, berries, and insects, vanishing before you ever catch more than a glimpse. During the breeding season, The male performs a gentle ritual, spreading his white wings, bowing, circling the female in a quiet display of grace. She, dressed in earthy brown, watches, chooses, and disappears into the undergrowth to lay her eggs in a hidden nest of leaves. Elliot's pheasant is listed as near threatened. Habitat loss, deforestation, and illegal hunting have chipped away at its future. But hope survives in protected reserves and in the hearts of birdwatchers who dream of seeing one just once. This bird isn't flamboyant. It doesn't shout. It doesn't pose. It moves with dignity. It appears like a whisper. And in a world so loud, Elliot's pheasant reminds us that some of the most beautiful things are meant to be found slowly, softly, and with reverence. Blue-naped Pitta. Among damp, shadowed ravines and mossy undergrowth, there exists a bird so vivid, it feels like a forest spirit brought to life. The blue-naped Pitta. It's not large. It doesn't soar across the sky. But its colors are unforgettable. An earthy green body, a turquoise blue patch on the nape, lemon yellow belly, and flashes of coral red on the flanks and tail. Every feather seems brushed with intention, designed not for the sky, but for the intimate, hidden world of the forest floor. Found in the subtropical lowland forests of southern China, particularly in Yunnan and Guangxi provinces, the blue-naped Pitta is a master of stealth. It prefers dense vegetation, bamboo thickets, and humid gullies where light is scarce and sound travels slowly. It lives its life at ground level, like a feathered forest dweller in an ancient world. You rarely see one before you hear it. Its call is a sharp, repetitive chuck-chuck, echoing through the trees like a knock on an old wooden door. And then, just as suddenly, silence. If you're lucky, you might catch a glimpse of it hopping through leaf litter, head bobbing, foraging for worms, beetles, and other small invertebrates. Pittas are known for their quiet charm, and the blue-naped is no exception. During the breeding season, it builds a spherical, mossy nest tucked low to the ground, hidden among rocks or roots. Both male and female tend the nest, feeding their young and guarding the entrance with near-invisible patience. This species isn't globally endangered, but it is considered uncommon, thanks to its shy behavior and increasingly threatened habitat. Forest clearing and agricultural expansion have pushed many into smaller, more fragmented pockets of wilderness. Still, their resilience is inspiring, and conservation efforts in key regions are helping to maintain these strongholds. The blue-naped Pitta is the kind of bird that defies the ordinary. It doesn't need flight to dazzle. It thrives in the silence, in the damp green shadows, in the heartbeat of the forest itself. To encounter one is to witness the magic of stillness, the poetry of color, and the quiet splendor of life where few ever look. As our journey comes to a close, we look back, not at a list of birds, but at a mosaic of feathers, forests, and forgotten melodies. From the royal glow of the golden pheasant to the secretive shimmer of the blue-naped Pitta, we've explored 15 of China's most beautiful and mysterious birds, each with its own story, its own song, and its own struggle. These birds are more than just wildlife. They are symbols of ancient landscapes, echoes of culture and poetry, living links between the past and the present. They remind us that beauty is not always loud, that wonder lives in quiet corners, and that life, no matter how small or hidden, is always worth protecting. But here's the truth. Many of these birds are vanishing, not because they've failed to adapt, but because we've failed to notice. Every tree cut down, every wetland drained, Every moment we look away costs more than we know. But the good news is, it's not too late. You don't have to be a biologist or a bird watcher to make a difference. Support forest conservation. Say no to illegal wildlife trade. Protect native habitats. Share this video to inspire others. Teach children the names of birds, not just the names of apps. Pay attention to the calls outside your window. They're talking to us, if we choose to listen. Because when we protect birds, we protect forests. When we protect forests, we protect the planet. And when we protect the planet, we protect ourselves. So the next time you see a flash of red in the trees, or hear a strange, haunting song in the wind, pause. You may just be in the presence of something ancient, something rare, something sacred. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this video moved you, inspired you, or opened your eyes, please like, comment, and share it. Subscribe for more stories from the wild. And never forget, the world is still full of wonder. All we have to do is look.